People would ask me a lot of times when I first came to Germany, "Where are you from?" And I'd say, Los Angeles, California." What? Why would you leave sunny and warm California to come to Germany? It's often rainy and cold here. There's less sunshine. Why would you do that? And I can understand that a lot of people may not understand my reasons for wanting to explore something new, but I was allured by an international business career, and Germany is still the third largest economy in the world, and a major leader and driver in not only economics but also technical education throughout Europe, also in politics. The German government plays a significant role also in EU matters, and so I had felt that from all the countries in Germany, for all the companies in Europe, Germany would be the most important stepping stone. And I think looking back now, after about 20 years, it was the right decision to have a fundamental experience at an international level. But I want to hear from Dr. Ebner, from Stefan, what is the kind of generalization about the work environment in Germany? How would you describe it from a German who's gone through the legal system and
Yeah.
pursuing a legal degree in the education system in Germany? I've experienced the education system in Germany from being an international student for a period of 1 year of studies, and that maybe is a little bit non-representative
Yeah.
of going through the German education system from an early age up to completion of your state's exam. So tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you so much, Sean. I think the German education system and the system of how you work here in Germany, it's much more formal. It's much more formal. It's not as flexible as it is in the US. And let's say you do not really have fun at work in Germany. And fun maybe belongs to the work you do in the US. So that's how I have witnessed it as I was there in the US at a private law school and working in the US as well. So it's much more formal. Mistakes are not allowed here. While I had the experience that in the US, you have more the mentality, well, if you work, you make mistakes. How shall you learn without making mistakes? And it's a quite harsh environment here, to be honest.
Well, that's kind of the
Yeah.
if you speak to startups and scale ups, the founders are constantly trying to solve the world's problems, and it oftentimes doesn't take one attempt to solve
Yeah.
these problems, but multiple attempts.
Absolutely. And I think that's the mentality in the US. You need to fail in order to know how to stand up again. But here in Germany, if you fail once, and that is a big fail, you're done. Yeah, you don't get a second chance again. People will not trust in you again.
Well, I do know that very early in the German education system, notes or your grades are very important, and it's very scrutinized upon if you don't have those good grades because you have to make an early decision.
Yes, absolutely. And what I'm trying to say with it's more formal, people really have an eye on what education you had, what degree you had. They do not really look whether you are a good employee or a worker. They first look if you have a doctor's degree, for instance, and then you will get the job. While as in the US, people are more interested in, are you good at what you are doing? And maybe in a second step, on what degree do you have and to what school you went to. So I think that plays into that formal, harsh environment here at work, and you need these employment certificates if you have worked at a certain job. That is something what is quite unique or maybe weird for US citizens as well. So maybe Ed, if I pass over to you, could you explain how you have experienced that, felt that when you heard about that your employer is giving you some kind of employment certificate, some kind of, in German, Arbeitszeugnis, of how you have acted as an employee, and that it is so important in Germany that you have a good Arbeitszeugnis to hand over to get a new job or another job?
Well, Doctor, I think
Oh,
that
here it comes.
I think it.
He said the magic word, Zeugnis.
Yeah.
I think that all this behavior can really start to be explained from a German perspective as an American looking at it, from when y'all start in school at a young age. And if you really want to understand German mentality, I think that if you really take a second to understand how they actually approach education, it's very eye-opening. I don't. I think there's a lot wrong with it, but this is one of those comparisons that you can't really make because I'm not from here. But as an example, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong about this, but from an early age, like I'm talking kindergarten, all of your scores and tests are kept. All of your homeworks, all of your grades are all supposed to be carried along. And so documentation that goes,
No problem.
Documentation that goes back to, when you were a young child is still relevant now, and you're still supposed to keep track of that stuff. And so it's very, like you were saying, it's very formal. And so I guess with regard to what Americans would know as a reference letter from a company is basically required here. And so from an American perspective, you're like, oh, a reference letter. Well, you don't need it. How good are you at talking with people? Can you speak?
And
can I burn that bridge? Because I want to.
And a lot of times it's well known in the United States among employment circles that your boss or the employer will say, Ed, just write your own employment letter, I'll sign it.
Yeah. I wrote my employment contract to work for this German company.
Did you write your own salary too?
I did. Unfortunately, I'm an honest person.
I found the whole employment certificate quite confusing and unproductive in German employment relations, because there was this kind of grading system put into the certificate of employment or Zeugnis where there's literally a technical meaning for the words that you would use in a certificate, from even differences in good to very good. And as a foreigner trying to get a certificate of employment for the first time, you wouldn't even pay attention to these nuances on the actual choice of words. And there is actually a recipe to follow in terms of getting a very good certificate of employment. It's good. It could have been better, but